Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is many a true nerd, and welcome to The Farmer Was Replaced, which is a game about programming an agricultural drone, and this game does mean that very literally. I'm going to be learning some programming today, specifically the language Python, and I'm cocky terrified already, okay? I feel like this game is going to be beyond me. Okay, so I've got myself this window where I enter code for this drone, who is currently just hovering there and not doing a farming. Dear oh flipping dear. So I need to enter code into this thing to make the drone go. And yes, the game does insist down the bottom left there. Don't worry if this is your first time programming, the language is unlocked step by step. Don't tell me what to do, game. If I want to be terrified, I'm going to be terrified, okay? So okay, according to that thing, yes, there's like autocomplete built into this thing, and two functions that are already available. So, harvest. Okay, I would like you to do a harvest, please. So, set the program running. Not a valid statement. Did you mean to write harvest? Open and close brackets. I'm assuming I do. Please commence harvesting. Okay, I've successfully harvested the wheat. It turns out I'm a genius at programming. The problem being, it only does it once, so... okay, the game's also suggesting I'm about to go over here, so... loops. Unlocks a simple while loop. While true, harvest. You've unlocked the while loop, and the values true and false. The while loop keeps executing the loop body as long as the condition is true. So okay, hang on. We could probably make this thing just do its thing over and over again, so... while true, harvest. Must be a colon at the beginning of every code block. Right, while true, harvest with a colon. Also, indentation. So, separate the new code block. So, right, head prompt that defines everything that goes underneath it, then indent to indicate, hey, this refers to the thing above it. Now, if we start doing that, then... okay, so now that just happens forever, because... yes, true is like, always true, I guess. I'm not sure, but apparently that's how it works. And right, I've got a glossary here that tells me about, yes, all the things I've got available, like functions, programming language, etc, etc. But also, now we've got some flipping grass coming in. Okay, I could buy hats for my drone, very exciting, together with increases the speed of both the drone and code execution. Okay, that strikes me as a good idea, though the problem is the drone now harvests faster than the grass could grow, resulting in no harvest at all. Okay, I feel like you just tricked me there, game, but okay. To deal with this, if branches and can harvest are now unlocked. So okay, stop the program. So, all the time, while true, if can harvest, then, yeah, there we go, that's already there. If can harvest, then harvest. Like, do they just flow into each other? So, yeah, go in over here. Sorry, you need a colon. Everything just needs colons, apparently. Then, right, you need to be indented because you're subservient to that. So, okay, hang on. This is going to get complicated in a hurry. Ah, hang on, we've got it right. Sorry, it was just insufficient brackets and colons, because Python gets really, really sniffy if you don't just put brackets and colons everywhere. I'm guessing the brackets are like where variables go in the long run, but right now there's no variable to go in them, so that's fine, they just sit empty. So, right, all the time, if you can harvest, then you should harvest. But, like, don't harvest unless you can. So, as a result of that... yeah, we should be able to increase the speed, though. Need what? But I can increase the yield, which is positive, as soon as we get up to 300. I can wear hats, though. That's nice. And one of the hats is purple. Right, now we're getting somewhere. Now, the problem I've got here is the code's just executing in a loop. So as a result of that, yeah, the hat is never changing. My little drone just isn't changing his hat. If I indent you, so you get enclosed within the while true, still no, and also, oh bloody hell, right, things are going wrong. Sorry, I think I just didn't capitalise hat. That's what it needed, so try again. Oh, hang on. Right, it's trying each thing one by one. Also, why have I got these over here? I don't know, possibly those were like windows, so, right. But now it's like, yeah, checking that every time. Then again, it doesn't matter it's checking that every time, because it's waiting for the grass to grow anyway. But I feel like this isn't efficient, because now, yes, the drone is like constantly changing its hat to the hat it's already got. Okay, all my attempts to hack together some sort of code that checks if the hat isn't purple, then put on the purple hat, has failed miserably. So we're just going to take that out. The hat is purple right now. Everything's fine, okay? You just get on with your beautiful purple hat harvesting. Because yes, I suspect things are about to get complicated. Because now, the land's going to expand to not just be one square. And also, yes, we're going to start moving. And also, planting. So okay, movement is done with compass directions, and yeah, space is looped in this universe. So I just keep going in one direction, and yeah, I'll get back down to the bottom. And planting, meanwhile, creates new types of plants, because right now I'm just harvesting grass, which is great, but yeah, like we saw a second ago, I now need wood to do basically anything. Okay, stop the program. We've now got to, yes, figure out how to make all this work. Because in theory, there's no reason not to, yes, just make the drone in a loop, just move north, check if it can harvest, then continue. Oh, and that's our first variable that needs to be inside brackets, so... Okay, are you about to actually, like, work or something? Because if so, that'd be great. And... okay. We're starting to get to grips with this. Now, the problem we've got is... yeah, that just means we're harvesting different grass over and over and over again. How precisely do we do, yes, wood planting? Well, actually, you know what? What I was thinking was, how do I plant some wood, but not all the woods? And maybe I don't need to. Maybe just everything being wood would be a decent starting point. Luckily, the nice thing about programming is, you barely even need to type it. Like, you know, you type maybe a third of it, the rest just auto-populates. So, okay, coders, lazy bastards as it turns out. So yeah, this should now lead to you moving, planting a bush, checking if you can harvest, and then presumably waiting until you can. So, right, you plant. No, you don't wait, you just keep moving. Because it's not yet if harvest and either harvest or wait until you can, it's just can you harvest, if so it do. If you can't, move straight on to the next thing. So... hang on. Hang on. Are we actually, like, ever getting more grass in? No. Grass is growing when there's nothing else there, but it's immediately replaced by a plant. So, you know what? Hang on. No. I think I'm starting to see how we might be able to do something here. So, how about we put a second if harvest before we insert planting? So now, we're going to get some grass too. Like, if the grass is already there, we'll also get the grass. So... okay, get that, and do we just gain some grass? Yes, I'm pretty sure we did get the grass, right? So, you harvest that, you also harvest... wait, hang on. I feel like we're not getting grass. Why are you not waiting to see if you can harvest that second time? Oh, it's because you move straight on to the second command, plant. So, right, how do I make you... then again, I don't want you to wait. To be honest, you'd be stuck doing nothing for too long. Okay, let's not worry about that for now. Let's just say, yes, the farm is expanding, that's good. Though yes, now things aren't in a nice row, so stuff's gonna get complicated, and... you know what? I am not going to look at hints. I'm going to figure this out for myself. Because, yeah, I can move around, and while the farm is 3x3 now, it's not gonna stay 3x3 forever. So get world size gives me the number that the farm is, like x by x. So, okay, I can do this. I can figure this out. So, okay, for iron range, harvest would mean do a harvest 5 times, because it just means harvest for 0, harvest for 1, etc, etc. So for iron range, rather than a 5, just to get world size, I can make the drone move the same number of squares as there are in the farm. I do a complete loop. So for iron range, get world size. Everything else just like indents a bit more. That would logically mean, hang on, just check that. Sorry, there needs to be more colons. Just put colons everywhere if in doubt. Okay, with a few more brackets shoved in, because I never get the number of brackets right. That's working. So, that is now, yes, gathering what the world size is, which is 3, and then doing the commands under that 3 times. Right? So yeah, it moves north, then checks if it can harvest, plants, and then checks if it can harvest again. Though that's probably unnecessary under the circumstance. In fact, yes, I think we can just get rid of that one. That one's not actually helping, like, at all. So, that should still work just the same, actually. So, right. With that done, now what we need to do is, yes, make it do something else, which is, logically, just make it move east or west 1 after it runs that. Then it can just do it again. Like, that's literally all we need to do, right? So if you just move to the, hang on, bracket, say, east, it doesn't really matter, it could be either. Sorry, do you need to be capitalized? You probably do. There we go. No, not east-ast, just east is fine. So yeah, now what you should do is do that, move, then do that, move, then do that, and I did not uncover the hints, okay? I figured that out all by myself. I am really quite proud of myself right now. But to expand the farm any further, or indeed do anything, we now need to, yes, get carrots going. And carrots are going to be more complicated, aren't they? Because, yes, now the soil needs to be tilled. Tilling the ground once makes it into soil. Tilling it again makes it basic ground. Though presumably anything could grow in soil. It's just that carrots can't grow in ground. So, I mean, we could just till everything. Then again, that would keep the drone busy when it could be harvesting. But okay, what if we say, yeah, instead of generating nothing but large amounts of wood, which is all we're really doing right now, yeah, we say instead, each column should do a different thing. So, column 1, wherever we start, that generates the wood. Okay, then we move east by 1, and as a result, yeah, at that point, we begin working on the second column. So what we need to do is remove the planting, because at that point, you'll harvest the grass that's already naturally growing there. Then we just take that code again, like the whole thing, just copy that out, move east once again, but this time, yeah, I want you to, hang on, move north, you've got to till. Yeah, till is just open and close brackets, then we just plant entity carrot, the same as the bush. So that's all nice and easy, actually. So then, yeah, we just do some planting entities. That just types itself. Bloody easy, this whole programming business. Then we just put a harvest command on the end of that, and it should all just loop round in a corner, though. You need to go back 1 step. If you go back 1 step, you now are happier. So, okay, hang on. Let's see if this now works. So, right, that's carrots. Good. And then, something's gone wrong. Something's gone horribly wrong here, because we just sort of... Wait, hang on. What are we gaining right now? That's wood. Why is it not a regular loop? Like, why is it not always the same thing? So, right, carrots over on that side. Okay, you harvest the wood. Then you generate more carrots, but... Okay, like, this is technically working. It's just not entirely like I was thinking it was going to work. Oh, hang on! There's not enough east movement. There's only like 2 move east commands in this entire thing. Is this now gonna work as I think it should work? So, right, hang on. So then, that becomes... No, that should be... That was supposed to be carrot territory. This is... Okay, hang on. There's carrots. You should be planting that. That gets me that. That gets me the... Okay, why are the carrots not being harvested? Right, you're not harvesting, like, the last thing before you plant the new thing. You're planting the new thing over the old thing that was growing while you were doing the other work. All we need to do is rearrange the code a bit here, where you check to harvest before you plant the next thing. Now, this should work, okay? Though, hang on, what do you mean, error? Not enough indentation. Sorry, there needs to be more indentation. Right, now, this time, what you should do is generate, yes, some carrots there. Then you gather the wood. Then you gather the flipping straw, though. Okay, hang on. Where are the carrots? Yeah, carrots there. So now, yeah, that gets the grass in. There come the... Wait, hang on. Hang on. Why did we only harvest one carrot, not all the carrots? Because this is actually working for the left row, gathering wood, and the middle row, gathering straw. But the right row should gather 3 carrots. But it's not. Why is it not, though? Because all you should be doing is picking the carrots, and then once the carrot is picked, you should then till and plant immediately. Like, that's the order of play. You're supposed to move north, harvest the carrot, then once the carrot is harvested, till and plant. So why are you only doing that, like, every second go and not picking up carrots? Like, what happened to those carrots right there? Like, every other go, it successfully plants the carrots. That's true. So, yeah, they get planted. That's lovely. But then when it comes back round to them, it doesn't harvest them. Hang on a minute. You're untilling the soil, aren't you? Oh, that's the cooking problem. You're doing till to already tilled soil. So, right, I need to add, like, a check where you verify whether or not the soil is already tilled. Oh, speak of the devil, right, there's something in the flipping tree that does precisely that. So, okay. The drone can now see what's under it and also where it is. Presumably in terms of, yes, like X and Y coordinates. So now we can use get ground type to check what's under it. And on this occasion, yeah. That's going to be useful for verifying that it's tilled. So, hang on. Okay, I think I'm almost there. Because, yes, if get ground type is, or rather equals, but you want double equal sign for some reason. So, must be a colon. Obviously, there must be a colon. Never forget colons, and also toss in some extra brackets, because why not? So, okay, hang on. Just about to. Never mind, it immediately broke. I genuinely think it might have been, yes, not enough brackets. Like, if you're ever in doubt, just more brackets. That's what you need to do, so... Okay, hang on. You're actually doing your job right now, so... I mean, you're doing your job better. I think we have officially stopped, yes, untilling the ground. But you're still not cooking and harvesting. So, yeah. There's the flipping, yeah, wood coming in. Then the straw. And, like, 1 carrot. We should be getting in more carrots. Why are you not harvesting the carrots every time? You know, I'm starting to think possibly the if function for flipping harvesting is just a waste of time. Like, let's not bother with that. Because by the time the drone gets around to it, it's going to need to harvest anyway. Just always cooking harvest. No, it turns out that was a terrible idea. Whatever I've just done, it's just broken everything. Because now... What's going on now, precisely? Because we don't appear to be, like, harvesting anything. Okay, let's execute this one step at a time and figure out what's gone wrong. So... Okay. You move north. You harvest what's there. That's fine. You plant a new thing. You check the world size, you move north, you harvest, you plant a new thing, you move north, you harvest, you plant a new thing, that's working fine, then you move east. Okay, so... Wait, hang on. Should you not have moved east or... Wait, hang on, something just went wrong with that move. But yeah, back over with the carrots as well. So, moving north, harvest the carrots, check whether you're on grassland. You're not, so you don't bother. So you plant more carrots, move north, harvest, and move north. That seems to be working. So, yeah, then at that point, wait. Why have more bushes not grown in the meantime? Is that the problem we've got here? And also, oh, okay, part of the problem is, yes, nothing's growing here because the grass can't grow on the soil. So, okay, hang on. I think we can fix this really easily. The plants do need to be checked as to whether they can be harvested. And for the row that's supposed to be producing a basic grass and whatnot, that needs to be checked to whether it's soil. So yeah, we reverse it. If it's soil at that point, till it, so it goes back to grasslands. Okay, this is going better. We've now got, yes, one column of grass that is consistently harvested, and then wood that is harvested if it's ready, which it may or may not be. It's got to take time to grow. So the reason that's not harvested every time is because, yeah, it's just not ready to go yet. Then the carrots. Oh, are you harvesting them before they're ready to harvest? Right, possibly that if canna harvesting was important. Oh, now I think we've got it. So yes, you check whether the things can be harvested. We get carrots in the event there are carrots. Otherwise, yeah, you just wait for them to finish growing. The same is true for the wood. But yeah, the grain always gets harvested because it just grows instantly. So, okay, it took some doing, but we got there. Meaning I think it's time to grow the farm. In fact, screw it. Grow the farm like 2 times up to 6 by 6. Oh, except slight issue. The wood is staying stable because, oh, hang on, I think I know what's going on here. Carrots cost, yes, grain and wood to plant. So I need way more, yeah, grain and wood in order to grow carrots. I'm not gaining wood right now because every wood I'm harvesting is going straight back into the carrot population. Well, actually, not quite. It's very slowly going up because wood grows faster than carrots do. So, yeah. As a result of that, hang on, just stop for a second here. No, we almost had it. When we next go up to like 100, there we go. Increase the farm to 6 by 6. Okay, we've now got a much bigger farm. But yes, at this point, what I want to do ideally is grow like... Well, okay, we've got loads of flipping grain. And also the grain grows faster. So, like, maybe 1 row of grain to 3 wood, then 2 carrots. So we've got spare wood still coming in. Okay, one other thing I've got as well is I can just do basic arithmetic. Like, I can just add or subtract or multiply or divide numbers versus other variables I can call up. So, okay. I now need to, yes, not just go east, because that's just going to create, we've got here, a series of columns. So what I want to do instead is, yeah, maybe take a get world size and come up with an equation using that to determine how the farmland is distributed. So for example, yeah, there should always be just 1 row of like a basic grass. Then most of the rest should be given over to wood, and the minority given over to carrots. Because yeah, the 4 iron range is useful, because that makes you do the item 6 times. So what if, yeah, I use that same thing to manipulate the drone to go east the number of times I wanted it to, doing the same crop over and over again, until I wanted to change over to a different crop. So yeah, once it's done its business here, which is going through this area, planting and or harvesting on this occasion woods, then I want you to move east, and also, yeah, go back to the beginning of this group. But I need you to do it a certain number of times. But hang on, if I arrange it like this, all it's going to do is, yeah, move it east by a big amount. I need it to, yes, move it east at the top of the operation, so it runs this entire operation each time I move east. Okay, so this code I've just written, that's now working in the sense that, yes, what's now happening is I'm going to produce nothing but wood 6 times. Then, oh, hang on. Okay, this wasn't really what I was planning to do, but this is kind of genius in a way, which is, yeah, what happens now is you generate an entire field of nothing but wood, which you harvest. Then, once you're done with that, you set up, yeah, just a single column of grass and carrots, which still get harvested. That's fine. Then you go back to doing an entire field of wood, which we need, so I'm going to be honest, this was not what I was actually thinking I was going to be doing, but I mean, this is kind of genius. Like, that actually works. Now we're getting in loads of wood. Though, okay, hang on. Hang on. Now we've got this down. Like, you know, this wasn't how the code was supposed to work, but it's kind of working, so, oh, I'm a real coder now. This is marvelous. Okay, given this is sort of working, yeah, that system up there, that generates an entire field of wood. Then all I need to do is, yeah, just hard code a certain number in order to generate, say, more carrots. So yeah, just get the carrot code to shuffle in a little bit, move that down, put some more code in here. That's fine. But yeah, on this occasion, don't make it like get the entire world size or anything. We need some carrots, but not that many. Am I allowed to just straight up say, get world size divided by 2? I'm guessing you're going to object to that, because, hang on, the indents aren't quite right for some reason, because it doesn't look too happy with me, as we just, yeah, create our giant pile of wood, which is good. We need a giant pile of wood. But yeah, once we get down to the code proper here, then there we go. You tried to call something that's not a function. Okay, hang on. How do I get the world size but just divide it by 2? Okay, I've been tinkering with this and just putting, yes, the -2 at the end of another set of brackets, and is that going to create, yeah, 4 sets of carrots and then move on to, oh, it just did as well. And now it replaces the 4 carrots, which it's harvesting, with presumably an entire... You're going to harvest... Yes, you are going to harvest that. That's fine. You're just, yeah, moving over on, like, you know, one of the lower rows. Down over to here. Plant those. Harvest all of them. Replace them with a world size at -2. So as a result, yes, most but not all of the world goes to carrots, which is important. Because otherwise, yeah, we'd be in a situation where we'd never actually gather wood. So, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And yeah, given I don't really want to be dealing with additional subtraction, I've just replaced that with, yeah, world size divided by 2. Because, yeah, then it will just be half, which is fine. Then we just repeat the operation for, yeah, the basic grass, which we still need some of, but that will divide by 4. So, hang on. Hang on, can I actually make the thing bigger at this point? No, I need pumpkins to do that. Well, that's fine. I see pumpkins down over here. And also, right, trees are better for wood than bushes. They give 5 wood each. They can be planted anywhere, but trees like some space. So, oh, bloody hell. Right, planting them next to each other will slow down the growth. Growing time is doubled for every tree that is directly in any compass direction. So, okay. Like, every other tile being a tree would be good. But not just every other tile, because then when we move to the east to repeat the pattern, there'd be another tree next to you. Okay, I think I can just cannibalize my code into working for trees relatively easily. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the code to move, harvest if you can, then plant, just repeat it right here. So this time you're not going to plant, yes, a bush, you're going to plant a tree. Now the problem is that means you're going to go round twice, because, yeah, inside this single block here, you move it twice, right there. But if I just, yeah, take the range for the number of things you've got to move, and then cut that in half, using the same trick I did down here, then yeah, that should basically cover the entire column, just going plant tree, plant tree, plant tree, for the correct number of squares. But I also need to always make the drone just hop up 1 to create a checkerboard. So if I tell you to, yes, move east, then move north, just by 1 before you begin this process, then I think that should create a checkerboard of trees right there. I'm going to assume this is genius. So, right, hang on. Just plant checkerboard of trees, and I think it's working. I'm a cocky genius! Okay, I missed my calling in life. Clearly I should have been a coder. Like, oh, John, this is cooking amazing. Right here, this is working. This is so much wood. Oh, there we go. And there's just, yeah, 2 lines of flipping grain, which is fine. Then it should be 4 lines of carrot, which is a-okay. And then, yeah, once you're done with that, you begin planting the trees again. And yeah, harvesting the other stuff while you're passing by, so okay, I feel really good about this. I'm really rather proud of myself right now. Yes, while I could unlock watering, not that that really does me much good, to be honest, because, yeah, like, my drone can't get round the bloody plants fast enough right now anyway, so ignore that for now. But I could also increase, right, the wood yield pretty easily, just by spending large amounts of grain. So, yeah, that means trees are now generating dumb amounts of wood. And on top of that, pumpkins! Lovely. So, right, much like carrots, they like being on tilled soil, and planting them costs carrots. How many carrots are we talking about here? Just 1, that's not so bad. And the trick with pumpkins is actually, yeah, a fair bit simpler than with trees here. Which is, pumpkins just need to be clustered. Which is fine, we've got clustering built into the code already. The issue being, yeah, if we were to, like, overwrite a pumpkin by just moving on to the next thing, that would cause trouble. So really what we need is a bit of the field to be reserved for pumpkins that we just sort of skip over. But how are we going to do that? Okay, step 1. Let's just copy the code that gives us the carrots, because that includes, yeah, checking for grassland and tilling if need be, because pumpkins need tilling as well. So yeah, just cannibalize the old code, but plant pumpkins instead. Half of the world's going to be given over to pumpkins, but yeah, what we want is nothing else to overwrite them. So we need to add, yes, an override in all the other codes using getEntityType, so whenever we're doing anything, we check whether what's below us is a pumpkin. In fact, all you need to do is check whether you've got a pumpkin once. The moment you do, then you're in a pumpkin column, and you need to move on. So if getEntityType, open and close brackets, double equals, then, hang on, pumpkin, right? Pumpkin would be acceptable as an entity type. Pumpkin's not acceptable as an entity type. Hang on, how do I specify that? Entities.pumpkin, beautiful. So yeah, in the event that the entity is a pumpkin, then at that point I want you to just, yeah, once again, just move east. Now then you need to check that again before you move on. So maybe the better option isn't if, but while, because I want you to keep moving until you're no longer detecting pumpkins. Now that code can also be copied over to everything else just under the initial move east command. With the exception of the pumpkins, you are allowed to go back into the pumpkin area while the pumpkins are growing, because pumpkins can die, leaving behind a dead pumpkin that needs to be planted over. And on top of that, you need to not plant a pumpkin if there's already a pumpkin. You only plant pumpkins in the event there's a dead pumpkin or no pumpkin. So okay, if I've got this right, what's going to happen is, yeah, half of the world's going to be set aside for pumpkins. Okay, you're going to go around harvesting if you can, tilling if it's necessary, planting new pumpkins if the old pumpkin has died, and yes, if there's no pumpkin, then planting a pumpkin. Then we move on to, the rest of the farm, which will just be doing its own thing and basically cycling between the other crops. But that's fine, because they should just be ignoring pumpkins, moving on eastwards if they ever run into any pumpkins. So, I'm not convinced this code's gonna work, but to give it a go. Pumpkins, absolutely. There we go, pumpkins, beautiful. Pumpkins are forming mega pumpkins. Then, oh yeah, that'll flip it do. Then we do some planting. But what you should do now is bypass the cooking pumpkins. Beautiful. So yeah, we're ignoring the pumpkins for now, because we're getting on with the rest of the code, and just like dedicating the rest of the farm to other bits and pieces, replacing these pumpkins with new bits and pieces, and that's genuinely working. I've now got half the farm dedicated to pumpkins, and the other half just being rotated round other crops, because, you know, we need other crops too, so I'm genuinely really quite proud of myself. Like, I didn't even test that. That just worked okay. You know what? I quite like this game. This game's good. Although I'm gonna be honest, for reasons I'm not entirely clear on, hang on, no, the code has malfunctioned because, it found an area that, like, didn't have pumpkins, though. No, you know what? I think it's fixing itself. I think it is actually successfully fixing itself. So, right, in the event that, yes, the drone finds an area where there's no pumpkins, it might try and replace the pumpkin with something else. But as the code cycles, actually, it does sort itself out. So, yeah, it found a spot with no pumpkin and sort of broke. But once we cycle back to the top, it will fix itself. So, okay, basically, I've created spaghetti code that occasionally breaks, but does sort of work and fixes itself in the long run. Okay, so it turns out I am a real, genuine coder after all, though. Okay, never mind. Actually, sometimes the pumpkins, like, spread forever on account of the fact that, well, then you're sort of cycling, so never mind. I think possibly the code is fixing itself. So, hang on. What's happening here? Because, yes, if you now plant, it just fixed itself! I'm not 100% sure how the code fixed itself, but it just fixed itself. I was worried the pumpkins were going to take over everything eventually. But no. Once it cycles, the code actually fixes itself. So, it turns out I'm a cocky genius. Still, I would say, as my horrendous spaghetti code sort of messes up then fixes itself and we don't entirely understand how it does it, how about we wrap things up there? This here is The Farmer Was Replaced, and okay, you know what? I can't help but find this rather compelling. And obviously, yes, it gets a lot more complicated yet, which is, basically I've just been looking at, you know, the nice, simple stuff. Eventually, you start getting down towards fertilizer and watering and also mazes. You can program the drone to deal with mazes and possibly dinosaurs, which is delightful. And then you get into complicated bits and pieces with all sorts of functions so that it can do more advanced things as well. So, yeah, there's a lot to get your teeth into here. But yes, I've had a lovely time with this. Honestly, I've had more fun than I was expecting, so okay, I might just keep my eyes open for any other programming games, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have a few more bits and pieces like this floating around in the future as well. So, hopefully, you're looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been the delightful The Farmer Was Replaced. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Jebediah Kerman has not exploded. Oh shit. Why did that happen? 5, 4, 3. Oh, I forgot to turn the thrust on. 5, 4. Is everything else? How is everything? Up to that point, that was going better than anyone expected.